Despite the showcasing that we all see on people's social media feeds, unfortunately, Americans are hurting. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you some shocking money stats about the average American. And I'm going to share with you two reports. The first report just came out a few days ago. It's by the Ramsey Group of Dave Ramsey fame. I like this because it also has some positive aspects to it. The second article I'm going to share with you is just really a doom and gloom report by an article by Saveology. But let's start off with the balance report. I think the Ramsey Group Ramsey Solutions does some really good research. It's called The State of Personal Finance. It's the Q3 2025 report. You can look it up on Google. Well worth reading. It's a quick 5-7 minute feed, but these are some of the things that stood out for me. So first off, the good news is 47% of Americans are saving for the future. Of course, that means over half, 53%, are not. And of the ones that are savings, this is what percentage of their income that they're investing. And I thought you'd find this interesting because we all wonder, I'm saving 10%, 15%. What is it? How do I compare? So this is of the people that are saving. You can see that 10% of the people are saving 1 to 4%. 11% of the people are saving 5 to 9 percentage points. 12% are saving more than 10%, 10 to 14%. Another 4% are saving 15 to 19%, and 10% are saving 20% or more. And when we were younger, we were taught, or at least I was, save 10% of your salary for retirement and you'll be okay. And unfortunately, in today's world, I don't think that's the case. And having been a financial advisor for over 20 years, unless you have a life-changing event, maybe you've spent 20 years building a company and you have a liquidity event and you get a chance to sell that company, short of something like that, I really think we all need to be striving to save closer to 20% in order to help us navigate what's likely going to be some of the challenges in life for us. For instance, about half of us are going to be forced to retire before we were planning on retiring. Either we lose our jobs or we have elderly parents that we have to take care of. So it's really important that not only do we save, but we plan on hitting our number probably 5 years before we think we're going to retire, because we just don't know as we get older. Okay, and so again, I like the Ramsey report because it balances optimism with some of the harsh realities. Here's one of the things I like. The Ramsey report goes on to say, for those that do invest, a significant number get started young and never look back. 43% started investing for their future between the ages of 18 and 25. And the median starting age of investing is 28, and only 7% of Americans started saving after age 40. And time is one of our best allies, one of our best supporters, one of the most important factors in determining whether we'll reach our goals or not. Again, if you can start saving 5 years earlier, and it is what it is. If you didn't start saving when you were 25, you didn't. But the sooner we can start, the sooner that compounding can take impact. And the last 5 years of that compounding is the most important. So the sooner we start, the more of those latter years that we get where the compounding really makes a huge difference. Okay, here's a sad statistic. Worries about money hold steady. Again, we're with the Ramsey report. Half of U.S. Adults worry daily about their personal finances, with more than a third of people losing sleep at night due to their personal finances. Single people are more likely to worry daily than married people, and along with parents with kids in their home, compared to homes with no kids. So obviously, if you have children, you have more responsibilities, you have more to worry about. Okay, here's another statistic from the Ramsey report. Half of U.S. parents, 48%, have given money or financial support to their adult children in the last 12 months. And here's how often we are supporting our children. I gotta be candid, mea culpa. I'm in this situation. I probably help out my adult children more than I need to. I'm glad I'm in a situation that I can afford to do this. Let's go through it and I'll share a couple thoughts on this. So you can see here, it's about 20% are supporting their kids on a weekly basis, 30% on a monthly basis, a little over 40% are helping out a few times a year, and then 10% only once. So if you can afford to help your kids out, it doesn't demotivate them. That's the key, right? We want our kids to develop into their own selves and to develop those problem solving skills and developing the good habits. So sometimes by us trying to help, we take away the short-term pain, but we may be creating a long-term pain. When I was a financial advisor, I worked as a financial advisor for over 20 years. I had a client that told me once she had an adult daughter that went through a financial challenge, and the daughter ended up having to move because they couldn't afford where they were at. But the mom said to me, and she was crying when she told me this, she said, "Who am I to take away from my daughter the ability and the pride and the confidence that comes with saying, hey, my husband and I faced this challenge. We addressed it and we solved it." And she didn't want to take that away from her adult child. And I think that's wise. Okay. Again, Ramsey, I like because they're putting in some optimism here. 43% of U.S. adults are optimistic about their financial future, a consistent figure since Q3 of 2024. Then they have this chart. How happy are you with the state of your personal finances? And you can see the green, so it's 16% is very happy. The blue, a little over a third, the dark blue, happy. The light blue is lukewarm, not happy, not sad. And then the yellow and the red are unhappy or very unhappy. So you can see about 25% of people are unhappy or very unhappy. Okay, so that's the Ramsey report. Again, you can look it up yourself. But now I want to switch over to the Saveology report. It's got some really fascinating statistics that I think you're going to like. Before we jump there, I do have a request. If you're enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up, a like, think about subscribing, commenting, sharing this video. Those are all signals to the YouTube algorithm to share this video with other people so that we can share this information and can help more people. Okay, let's jump into Saveology. Now, this is not a feel-good report. The report by Chris Borgeson is Americans are struggling financially, and these are 13 stats you need to know. I changed the order here just to keep it interesting and to put the more important ones at various places here. Okay, 69% of households have less than $1,000 in emergency savings. And unfortunately, $1,000 doesn't buy much anymore. I mean, if you break your arm, it's going to cost it. I'm not a doctor, but I think it's going to cost at least $1,000. A lot of car repairs are getting close to $1,000. So that's not much breathing room. We saw during the government shutdown, you know, the gold standard is to have 3 to 6 months of an emergency savings. But we saw just what a crunch it put on so many people. People were being evicted from their homes because government workers weren't getting their paycheck for, I think they missed 2 or 3 paycheck cycles. And that caused people a lot of financial stress. And boy, just the peace of mind of having 3 to 6 months. In fact, it's the number one goal. It's the number one place to start saving your money is that 3 to 6 months of savings, because otherwise you can end up in this downward spiral where you're using expensive money. Okay, 66% of millennials have $0 in retirement savings, and 34% of all Americans have $0 in savings. And then according to the Federal Reserve, this is what the median net worth is in the United States. So you can just see what it is. Median meaning half the people did better, half the people did worse. Household meaning if there's 2 adults in the house, this is the net worth of both. And net worth meaning it's the value of all of your assets, importantly, including your home equity. So it's not just your retirement accounts, it's everything. And you can see for people that are under 35 years old, the median net worth is $40,000. 35 to 44, it's a little over 135,000. 45 to 54, little under 250,000. 55 to 64, it's a little under 365,000. Keeps going up between 65 and 74 when people first retire to 410,000. And then it starts going down. It's about $333,000 for people over 75. And for most people, about half of their net worth is tied into their house. And about 80% of all people 60 and older in the United States own a home. Okay. Only 2.5% of households are utilizing a 529 college savings account. If you've got young kids, the 529 plan can be a really powerful plan. You're not restricted to just your state's 529 plan. So it's worth looking at other states. This isn't promoted, but I lived in Utah for over 25 years. Utah happens to have a really strong 529 plan, low cost investing options. It's worth looking into, not financial advice. I don't know your situation. Okay, 100 million Americans have outstanding auto loans, and nearly 100 million Americans collectively own $1.3 trillion in auto loans. The Ramsey Group says that about half of all Americans pay cash for their car. And boy, that's just a nice situation if you can get yourself in it. I know, cars aren't my thing. So as long as I'm driving a respectable car, it starts when I turn the key. But the average new car loan is $750 in the U.S. The average used car loan is about $500. And about 18% of new car loans, the monthly payments are $1,000 or more a month. That's a lot of money. So it might be a low effort way in order to save more money is to buy a 3 to 5 year old used car, maybe even pay cash for it versus taking on a car loan. Okay. 72% of households do not have a financial plan. And this is again with Saveology here. 44.7 million Americans have outstanding student debt. And you may think that's not a big deal for older people 50 and 60. But according to educationaldata.org, this is the average student loan balance. And you can see for people 50 to 59, the average student loan balance is still $44,000. And people 60 and older, average student loan balance is still $36,000. So that's a big deal. 43% of student borrowers are not making payments on their student loans. 83% of people set financial goals and they feel better of people that set financial goals feel better about their goals in just a year. So it's important to have a goal. It's important to have a plan. According to the Ramsey Group, 30% of U.S. adults, this is going back to the Ramsey report, 30% of U.S. adults have had a loved one die without a will. And 2/3 of those people said having a will or an estate plan would have made a big difference. If you don't have a financial plan, if you don't have a will, I encourage you, obviously, work with an attorney. It's not as expensive as people think to have a simple will put together. And unfortunately, if you don't have a will, your state likely does have one for you. That it's what it defaults to, and it could create a lot of conflict. So reach out to an attorney. If you don't have a financial plan, I think you should have a financial plan. The gold standard, I think, is to work with a fiduciary financial advisor, somebody that has your best interest in mind. If you want to do it yourself, I urge you, use software designed to help you do it. There's no reason to build your own plan in Excel or Google Sheets. The software, there's several providers of great software to build your own financial plan, your own retirement plan. The software I like is called Bolden. You can sign up for it at the link here. It's super powerful, it's easy to use, and it's very affordable. And at the time of recording this video, it's around Black Friday. So if you're in the Black Friday period, reach out. I know Bolden is offering a Black Friday special. Okay. And then I want to just talk about AI. The Ramsey Group had an interesting survey in their latest study, and they say, I believe AI can provide reliable financial advice. And you can see here that about 30% of people agree with that. A third say they're neutral, and then another third say they disagree with that. And that I trust AI more than a human expert for financial advice. Only 16% of Americans agree with that, which is good for my old colleagues. The way you find a financial advisor that you can trust, you talk to attorneys, you talk to accountants, you get referrals of somebody. And I want somebody that's a fiduciary to me. And if you enjoyed this video, the next video of mine I think you should think about watching is this video up here where I talk about what age makes the most sense to retire and why waiting to 65 might be a big mistake. If you've made it this long, I apologize for my throat. I have a cold, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.